Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another session of Research and Publication Ethics. In last session, we have been discussing about introduction to research and publication ethics, and the guidelines being introduced by UGC University Grant Commission. So this is in the series. We have a second lecture. So we start with Unit One. So Unit One is about philosophy and ethics. This is a lecture one. And what important things we're gonna cover in this, let us see that. So very important thing that why research ethics, because research has been a very ingredient part of our teaching and learning. But why this ethics has been introduced and has been mentioned by UGC, that when you conduct a research, you need to talk about ethics. So we'll talk about this. Before we talk about the research ethics, we'll talk about a little bit about research also. And then our emphasis in this lecture would be what is the research process and what is research ethics, why and what is research ethics basically, and then we will conclude our session with ethical principles. So before we proceed further, so I welcome you again, everybody. And as we have discussed in our introductory lecture, the syllabus, the content which we will be delivering in another sessions, and all these series of different sessions of research and publication. So we start with philosophy and ethics, first unit, and as I have mentioned, we're gonna cover research ethics, process, and different principles given by different authority. So we start with the research, what University of Waikato has mentioned in their library website. Also, they have mentioned, because we all are into social science, so social science is a bit different from pure science, that you all are aware of. We are not into a research where actually you think of a chemistry, you think of physics, you think of that pure science, but we are a bit different from that pure science, in the sense that here we are talking about society, we are talking about individual, we are talking about community, and here when you think of human being, understanding them, it's not an easy job. So I believe social science is more complex if you compare it with the pure science like chemistry and physics, like these kind of sciences. So here the University of Waikato has mentioned very clearly, you can see, social science is the activity of gathering, analyzing, and interpreting information for a variety of social, economic, educational, and political purposes. So, social science research is basically is a very wider concept, very wider concept, and it's about, like in other sciences also, what we need to do, we need to gather data, we need to analyze data, and basically whatever analysis you have made, very important thing, you need to interpret that information, and that could be in the field of economics, education, and that could be in social work, uh, humanity. So these different areas are there which we need to understand. And what would be purpose of that? The purpose of this kind of research would be that you are going to give some value addition to existing information, existing knowledge, plus, because human nature, human beings are very dynamic by nature. So whatever theory was applicable earlier, do you still feel that theory relevant? So that we need to discuss. That could have social perspective, that could have economic perspective, that could have political kind of perspective or a purpose. So that we need to emphasize. And basically, for example, here I have mentioned educational one. So, what has been the pedagogy? What was the pedagogy earlier? And because of COVID 19, what is the pedagogy now? So, that we need to think about. So, you can see the dynamics of social sciences, it keep on changing. So this kind of research is not so easy. It's very complex by nature. So here you can see when we try to understand the nature, and it's, as I mentioned, it's very complex. What we need to do, we should have people. They should be very competent in social as a social researcher, and whatever whatever phenomena you see in this society, whatever things you see or whatever social issue you see in this society, and whatever logic has been developed, logical conjecture has been developed during or maybe in past few years, that we need to check with the help of hypothesis. We need to defend that theory, or we need to accept or reject that theory, right? So here, why do we need this research ethics? Why do we need this research ethics? That we need such kind of research where critically uh, we can think of whatever contemporary society and social issues we have right now, and what would be the foundation of this social theory. Will it still applicable, or whatever methodology we have been using, is it still applicable? So that we need to check again and again. So that's why I feel this ethics are playing very important role. And as a researcher, we need to critically understand the different dimension of society, different dimension of social research methods and styles. So there may not be a very particular standardized approach to all different situations. Unfortunately, when you think of a social science, each and every phenomena, each and every situation is different. So it's gonna be a very difficult task. So now let us go, as we have been discussing, why research ethics. So uh, social science, it's not only for theoretical or methodological, but beside taking care of your social science design, social science theory, social science logical conjectures, what we need to do, we need to understand ethical dynamics. So that ethical consideration, which play a very important role, because when you live in a society, you need to, you know, you need to remain a part of that society. When you are a part of a society, you need to understand what is right, what is wrong. So here, when you when you do any act or when you react, so you can see that it's not going to affect just one party, because it's going to affect all stakeholders. So your action is very important as a part of a team, as a part of the society. So that's why this could be a one reason that yes, when you think of research ethics, we need to take care of all the dimensions, all the what you call part of the society. Are you going to hurt any part or any element of the society? And if your action is going to harm anything in the society, in the community, then it's gonna be against of welfare of all the parties involved in the research. So now this was something why we should go for research ethics, why we need to understand, why we need to discuss research ethics, dear friends. Now you all aware of, when you think of a research, it's already research design being defined, and then basically we start with some kind of objective, some kind of questions, or generally you find some good problem and you start working on that to find out solution. So we have research objectives, research questions. Then with the help of some tool, scale, measurement, you go and collect data. And it's not an easy job. It's not an easy job, because you need to think many times who would be your sample. So sampling decision would be a tough decision. And then what should be a sample size? So, and these are the few questions as a researcher, you need to understand, and understand the sense you need to defend it, you need to justify why it was your sampling, why it was your samples uh, size. So all these as a researcher you need to define, or you need to defend. And then comes the organization of data, because now you got a lot of data. This data would be useless until unless you organize it in some format and then analyze the data. Even after analysis of data, until unless you understand that how to interpret it, there is no use of analysis of data. So these all part of the process, all elements of the process, they should be defined. They should be uh, clubbed together in the sense that there should be a rhythm from objective to interpretation of data. Whatever you are interpreting, it is reflecting on the objectives and the question of your research. So from questions, objectives, collection of data, somewhere all together would be reflecting on your research topic. So it's very important. And you might have noticed one very important thing. You go through this process, and whenever you define, you justify, you defend all these research elements, what happen, you need to go through ethical issues, right? What kind of questions, what kind of objectives, is it going to harm any element of the society? If I going to collect data, do I need to take consent from the respondent? These all different questions comes when you think of a research process, and when you attach ethical values with these all elements of a research process. Now and then finally, because you have had some idea in your mind that this would be the solution to existing problem, and with the help of your process, research process, you come with some conclusion. That conclusion may verify a particular theory, particular idea, or may not verify that particular idea or particular theory. So whatever data you have collected, because it whenever you collect data, whenever you do this kind of research, you have to incur a lot of cost in terms of money and time. So don't you think, if you keep this data in some institute or your own institute depository, then other people can use it. So now the UGC and ICSSR, whenever you conduct any research which is funded by these 2 or 3 organizations, maybe DST also, they ask you to keep this data in open access so that others can also utilize it. So that would be the utilization of data. Again, ethical issue may come. What kind of issue may arise when you keep this in open access? Whether people will be misusing the information, misusing their data. And when you keep in open access, the person who has given response, have you taken consent from him or her that I'm going to put this information on open access? So there may be a lot of other questions also that we will discuss during the course of action. Now here we talk about what is research ethics, and we have discussed that in our daily routine life. You think many times that when you think of a particular action, particular decision, because we all are part of a society, we all are part of a particular culture, community. So before taking decision, before making any act, what we need to do, we need to think what is right, what is wrong. And here, when you think of research ethics provides guidelines for the responsible conduct of research. So now you have clear-cut guidelines then when you are conducting a research, how to collect data. When you think of sending your paper, ethically you need to select right kind of journal, which should not be a predatory journal. So with each and every step of research process, you have guidelines now with the help of research ethics to conduct your research in a responsible manner. In addition, it educates and monitors scientists conducting research to ensure a high ethical standard. So it's not only giving some guidelines. More than that, it educates you, it monitor your work. If you're giving false information, if you're giving wrong information, they will catch you. And and what would be the impact of your research? Is it going to hurt or harm anyone? Right. So that could be a part of ethical standards. So beside giving you some kind of guidelines, it educates you, it promote ethical research, and more than that, it actually monitor the scientific way of conducting a research. So now, how do they how do they monitor it? They have given some standard. They have given some guidelines. So in research ethics, we have following what you call principles, and here I have taken few principles from City University of Hong Kong library website. For further reference, you can visit that also. And here we have very important ethical principle you all are aware of, that honesty. When you conduct a research, you collect data, you produce result, you adopt any particular method, any procedure. uh, when you want to check the publication status, what we feel as a researcher or scholar should not fabricate, falsify, or misrepresent the data. So this is the honesty of a research scholar. They need to produce right kind of result with the help of right kind of method, and give right kind of result without any falsification, without any fabrication, without any misrepresentation of data. And then when you think of research outcome, uh, up to what extent these outcomes are acceptable in the society, not in the society, in the whole world. Because whatever output you give, whatever theory you test, that would be tested again and again in other part of the world. So here, what we need to do, we try to minimize, we try to avoid biases in the experimental design, data analysis, data interpretation. And that is possible, when you go for a peer review, right? So what we need to do, whenever you have some research project, whenever you are going for any research article, uh, we need to see that whatever you are writing, is it linked with a particular part of a society, a particular phenomena, or will it be, or it can be generalized in the world? So that we need to take care of. So whatever we do, whatever outcome we have, we need to try our best so that it will not be applicable, it would not show that this is limited to this only small thing. It should be, this philosophy, this particular phenomena should reflect on what you call, should reflect on acceptability of this your research, and that would be possible when your research is having objectivity. So it, and generally you might have noticed, whenever you send your paper for publication, your paper would go through peer review, right? And uh, it will go through what you call a rigorous process of expert opinion. So we need to inculcate all scientific way of conducting research in your research paper, in your research work, and then it will prove more objectivity. Then it will, your paper will have more acceptance in the whole world. Then we have integrity. Keep your promise and agreement. Work with sincerity and work with consistency. Consistency in your idea, in your work, and finally in your action. And then you need to be very careful. It should not be a careless errors or negligence, because it may cost you somewhere in terms of money, it may be in some other way also. So whatever you're doing, you need to carefully and critically examine, and whatever review you get from your the reviewers, you need to work on that, because whatever they mention on the basis of experience, they mention on the basis of they have gone through a different work, they had good experience in terms of number of publication. So you need to keep record of that. You need to give a justification, and that justification will come when you are not careless, right? You are very, very careful. And as I have mentioned, that when you get some project and go for a publication, what happens, they say that you need to keep your data in open access mode so that people can see it. So you need to share data, result, idea, all tools, whatever you have been using. So you need you need to be ready for criticism, because it's your work. You need to defend it, you need to justify it, why you have taken this methodology, why you have taken this particular methods, tools and technique. And then we come to respect for intellectual property. Whatever is there in, what do you call, uh, now we talk about Creative Commons. Earlier everything was under, what you call, control. You cannot share it. If you want to take it, you need to pay money for that, or rights were reserved, right? So here also we need to take care of that, that we are not going against that copyrights. Whatever patent, we need to honor that patent or intellectual property. So if something is there which is unpublished data, unpublished methods, result, so you cannot use it without permission. And when you are using it, you need to acknowledge, you need to give a credit where credit is due. So never ever try to go for plagiarized work. Now we have very important thing. There may be instances, there may be cases where you need to protect information. Maybe information is very, very confidential, so that you need to take care of. So it may be you are doing some work which is a bit sensitive, and you are not supposed to disclose to anyone, so you need to take care of that. And then responsible publication. You cannot send your paper to different publisher at one particular time. What you need to do, avoid wasteful and duplication of work. You need to send first to one journal. If you don't get acceptance, then you should send it to second one. So that is the right way. Otherwise there may be a chance of duplication, so that you need to take care of. And what you need to do, when you have experience as a scholar, as a researcher, it's your duty to help or educate and mentor other students, and help them to promote their welfare and allow them to make their own decision in terms of research. And what happens in many country, many university, every month they have a meeting where you show your work, and others can contribute if they have idea. And this is a platform where everybody, they discuss their result, they discuss their idea, and find, and they further they go for a research. And here very important, that respect your colleagues and treat them fairly. Social responsibility, another principle, strive to promote social good and prevent or mitigate social harm through research, publication, education and advocacy. So it's our duty, because we are getting fund from government to promote research ethics and promote ethical values in research, and come out with right kind of idea, come out with right kind of interpretation, and try to apply these changes in the society. Because now, what we need to do, what kind of research we should have, we should have a kind of research where actually we find out problem, we find out issue, and try to resolve that problem. So that would be a kind of social responsibility we need to perform. And here, as a researcher, you need to adopt a policy of non-discrimination. You should not be biased towards someone. You avoid discrimination against colleagues or students on the basis of sex, gender, ethnicity, or maybe any other factor. So you need to take care of that. So it would be somewhere related with scientific competence and integrity. Now, just give me 1 minute. Let me move further. Okay. So here we have few more. Competence: maintain and improve your own professional competence and expertise through lifelong education and learning. Take steps to promote competence in science as a whole. So you need to improve your competence, and that is possible when you work with ethics. And then finally, very important thing, legality. You need to follow the local norms, local laws, and the laws could be related to your own institution. You have board of study, they give you guidelines. You need to follow that guidelines, maybe a local state laws, government policy. And then human subject protection. When conducting research, you need to take care of that, whether your research outcome, your action gonna affect anyone, any human being, right? So here, if you are going to hurt any human subject, minimize harms and risk and maximize benefit. Respect human dignity, privacy, and autonomy. So that's very important. And finally, we need to take care of that animals is also a part of our culture and our society. So show proper respect and care for animals when using them in research. Do not conduct unnecessary or poorly designed animal experiments. So in social science, I don't think we are doing any kind of research on animal, but we are part of the society. We are a part of culture. So we need to follow these all. So what we will do, we have a next session, and that would be as we will cover again area of ethics, history of research ethics, and we'll have 3 case studies, so that we will discuss in the next session. So thank you very much for joining, dear friends. And we'll continue with the second lecture on philosophy and ethics. So we discuss what is research, what is research ethics, and we discuss different principles of research ethics. Thank you very much for joining right now, right now to me, and listening this particular video and participating in this discussion. So we'll continue with second lecture, and thank you once again for joining us. Thank you very much.